This life is peace and prosperity, and I am one with this peace and prosperity, and I am one with this energy that is inexhaustible. And as I am one with this unlimited intelligence, so is each and every person within the sound of my voice and the field of my energy. I speak my word with courage, with confidence, and with conviction. I speak my word and declare that eternal joy and peace and prosperity shows up in each and every area of our lives. And anything that is not in alignment with this, anything that does not resonate with this, is erased and dissolved and eliminated with love, with peace, and with joy. I bless this service from Reverend Celeste and Reverend Anthony Jackson to the music ministry. I bless this service from the practitioners to the children. I give thanks for this honor, and I give thanks for this privilege. I give thanks just for being able to give thanks. I release this word to the activity of God's love and law, knowing that all is well. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody feeling? Before the service gets started, I want to toot my own horn just a little bit. And I do that by tooting the horn of all of my brothers and sisters, the practitioners, the certified practitioners. And in fact, would the certified practitioners please stand? In this community, yes, because everybody is a practitioner. Everybody is a practitioner. Certified practitioners have studied. They have learned how to become change agents and healers and leaders that help you to lead yourself. Now, I don't want anyone to leave here with anything that is unlike them. So find you a practitioner, somebody who's wearing one of these purple things, and avail yourself of the prayer room that's in the back, and of the compassion that each practitioner has. Thank you, practitioners. Now let me ask everybody to stand. We are going to do the Declaration of Principles. There should be one in front of you. If there's not, you can just raise your hand and someone will bring you one. Would somebody turn on the lights for me, please? I'll take that. Everybody ready? Yes. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe in the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe in the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God. And we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Celeste Frazier. It is my joy to welcome you here this morning to East Bay Church of Religious Science. We're glad you're here. I think it says that on the screen over there, right? So I want to just highlight one thing from that Declaration of Principles that I want us to be with today, and that is we believe in the individual may be whatever. We just welcome you into this family of unconditional love and knowing that grace surrounds us all. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone who is here for the very first time to please stand so that we may confer a blessing upon you. If this is your first time, please stand. We promise we won't do anything strange. And the congregation raises our hands in your direction. And we say, welcome to the East Bay Church of Religious Science. We know who you are. You are an individualized expression of love. Intelligence. Beauty. You are a special way that God is happening on this planet. We thank God for you. Welcome to the East Bay Church of Religious Science. Yes. That goes for you too, first time live streamers. Now, for those of you who are here for the very first time, I want you to look at that rose as a reflection of your own beauty and to participate in that package that you were given by leaving us your information. Trade that in our wonderfully beautiful bookstore for a free CD of this service so that you may remember something that perhaps may have resonated with you. Amen. And so we're letting you know that you are welcome here. And all of us are welcome here, aren't we? Yes. And so at this time, I want to invite you to reach out and touch. Reach out and touch with love, with a handshake, with a smile, with a hug, whatever the comfort level is for you both. Blessings. Hey.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I know that's right.
Apparently, my mic is still on. Hey, how are you? Good, good. I work coordinated. Hey. Hey, Aaron. How you doing, sweetie?
Happy to be here.
Good to see you.
Blessings. Yeah.
Hi. Oh, you made it.
I made it. Yeah.
I'm so glad. Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, may I give you a hug?
You may.
Yes. How'd you hear about us?
I found you guys on the internet. I was just telling Linda, I'm a religious science minister myself
Okay.
in Phoenix.
Okay.
I have a corporate job. I do the ministry on the side.
Okay.
So I'm here for my corporate job this week. I just flew in this morning.
Okay.
And I had just looked, on the internet to see
All
if
right.
there was a center near the airport.
Okay,
because I'm
cool.
like, my timing is pretty good. If I'm not delayed, I can make
Right.
out of service.
Right. I know some folks in Arizona.
Yeah.
Tell them, hey, do you, there was a place, I forget who's there now. It used to be, Michelle Madrana used to be.
She's actually at...
I know she's at Mile High, but I don't remember who's at,
at New Vision.
right.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have they had a couple of replacements. Michelle now
Somebody's had
Okay.
situation.
this world a
Well,
better
from Oakland.
place. Yes, you can. Reach out and touch. Sing with me. Somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yeah, I can't hear you. Come on, sing
we
with
not
me.
doing-
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody. Reach out and touch. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can.
I know y'all like sharing the love, but would you please take your seats? So moving right along, Lynn is going to be giving us our community opportunities this morning.
Thank you, Paris. I'm hyperventilating. Good morning, East Bay. So what Paris was making reference to, I have a new grandson. My first grandson, and he was born on Friday, so I'm just over the moon. Yes. So, we believe here at East Bay Church that prayer will change your life. And if you want prayer after service, please see one of the practitioners, as Paris mentioned, and we will be more than happy and blessed to pray with you. And this is a service that we do for you. There's no additional charge or anything. Just come and see us in the prayer room, and someone would be there to pray for you. We also have midday meditation Tuesday through Friday from 12:30 to 1. And if you ever need a midday pickup, this is the time to come and just have some quiet time and meditate. And there will either be a practitioner or one of our ministers there to be with you during this time. Richard Scott is going to present the information about the 46th year anniversary gala.
Good morning. My name is Richard Scott. I've been a member of East Bay Church for over 25 years. When I first started coming to the church, they were holding services at Bjornson Hall over in the Diamond District. And I can recall They would put out a couple of dozen chairs, and at times on Sundays, not all of those would be filled. So it's wonderful to see the growth and the evolution and the prosperity that East Bay has realized. To learn more about the history of East Bay Church, you're invited on a historical bus tour that takes place on Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 2. You'll visit various sites within Oakland and Berkeley, and you'll learn about places, people, and events that have contributed to East Bay's rich and wonderful history. The event will be informative but also fun. It will be coordinated by two of East Bay's original members, Ayanna Johnson and Tyrone Cozy. And the cost is only $46. You're encouraged to get your tickets right away so that they'll know how many people to plan for. The bus tour is a preview to the gala called 46. It's the first gala which will be a fundraiser for East Bay, but more importantly, it will be a celebration of 46 years of East Bay's accomplishments and legacy. It will be at Preservation Park. There will be dinner, drinks, music, dancing, and plenty of fun. So for both events, the seating is limited, so you're encouraged to get your tickets today. You can get your tickets by going to the bookstore or using the kiosk in the fellowship area, or you can go to the website, the church's website. The website address is on the back of the bulletin. For additional information, there are flyers in your bulletin. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. We have started our spring class sessions, and registration is still open for the classes. The first one is Exploring Roots, and it's the history of New Thought as seen through the New Thought Masters. It's on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. starting tomorrow, and it's facilitated by Sherry Greer. Sherry, wave to the people. The course helps you to see the creativity and intuition of Emerson, the logic of the teaching as seen through Thomas Troward, and the mysticism of religious science through Emma Curtis Thompson. And you can make a presentation? Yes. Thanks to all of you for being here today, and more importantly, for bringing the wonderful spirit that's surrounding each of you. Thanks for helping me to be here, because I am actually new in this church, but at the same time, your smiles and your welcoming dispositions have caused me to stay. And of course, Reverend Celeste lectures, which makes everybody high, as the new director of education. So it's because of you that I'm standing here at this time to also invite you to church every Sunday, but also to invite you to our courses. Not for education, because you already know everything, right? But this is about enlightenment. Yes. It is about recognizing your death and transformation. That is the death of old ideas and transformation to new ideas, to new ways of thinking. And the courses will help you do that. On Monday, we have, let's start with the foundation course first. Because with the foundation course, you begin to understand each of these principles that you recite every Sunday, what they deeply mean. Yes. What they deeply mean. It's good to say them. It's like the Lord's Prayer that we said when we were from the age of 3 to 30. But it wasn't until later in life we began to understand what it really meant. And then there's the practical mysticism, to let you know that it's not about things falling out of the sky. It is not about God sitting there on a throne saying to you that, oh yes, I've answered your prayer. It is about finding within you the mystic, yes, and the mystical way in which the way the mystery
of bringing things into your life works. And then roots of new ideas and new thoughts, and where do they come from? Where did Ernest Holmes get all of these ideas? Believe me, they come from you. They come from other spiritual people. Yes. And since I am the director of education, I want to take a little more time here because I took the foundation of New Thought, and so just a very, very short story of how at the time I was trying to sell a condo here in Oakland, and I thought everything was just going really well. Thought I had a good realtor, and so I left and went to New Jersey to my great nephew's graduation. I mean, it's a young black man that made it through high school, and I had to be there. And so there was nothing but joy, and a lot of other family members and friends were there. And with this particular realtor, I was constantly writing explanations about issues with the condo, but writing in a way that the condo would sell. Didn't lie, but that's my strength in writing. So here we are, my niece and I, sitting on the Pennsylvania freeway, bumper-to-bumper traffic, and my phone rings. And it's a realtor. I'm thinking, oh, wonderful. I'm sure she has sold my condo, and she's calling to tell me that 6 people bidded on it, and I got $1 million for it. So she wrote, she said, that letter. And then this morning when we were reading the principles, and it said, we believe that heaven is within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Well, I became conscious of it at that moment. Yeah. And I started saying, you're not selling my condo. God is selling my condo. God has sold my condo. Now, meanwhile, my niece who's driving looked at me and said, Auntie Betty is going crazy. Let me get her back to the hotel. But a consciousness of how it is that I was to use New Thought, the foundation, and New Thought, spirituality, not religion, but spirituality, came to me. Well, when I came back to Oakland, my condo had sold. Yes, amen. God had sold my condo. The spirit within me had connected with the spirit outside, the spirit with that realtor that I was questioning whether I should be paying her, but that the spirit's connected. And that is what you learn in these courses. That is what you learn in Foundations, that meets on Mondays, on Thursdays now at 10 a.m. That's what you learn in Practical Mysticism, which meets on Saturdays from 10 to 1. And that's what you learn in Roots, which is also a meeting on Monday at 6:30 p.m. And when you come out to the lobby this afternoon, you can come out high. That's okay. But don't tell me you're going to take all of these courses and don't show up. Thank you very much.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Betty. So after you take all of your basic foundations class, the next step is to become a practitioner, if you choose. So we are starting, or if you are interested in becoming a practitioner for this fall classes, fall 2019, if you have not completed all of your courses, and it will clarify anything for you. And I can tell you that get it from Reverend Celeste after service. I will tell you that becoming a practitioner will change your life. You can do the training if you want to do treatment and work with the church, or you can do the training just for your own education. But it really does change your life. Okay. If you have an interest in becoming a member of East Bay and the benefit that it brings, please attend the information meeting on Sunday, April 28th at 1 p.m. in the community room. This is our spring membership drive. The membership team will be there to give you information about East Bay membership and welcome home. You've probably been hearing a lot about waste management and the cost that we have accrued because we haven't been vigilant in separating our garbage. And every time that we don't do our recycling right, it costs East Bay money. So we're asking that you please read the bulletin in the main hallway closest to Fellowship Hall for instructions on how to dispose of waste here at East Bay so that this money is not going out the window. And that is it for our community opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. So our musical inspiration for this morning is Tyrone Cozy. Tyrone, what's this brother's name?
Thomas Hughes.
Thomas Hughes.
Yes.
Will be accompanying him. So with no further ado, please, Mr. Cozy.
Morning, East Bay. Good morning. Hello, family. Do a song that I haven't done here in a really long time. It's off of my CD. And how many people are familiar with a book by Jack Addington called Your Needs Met? Few people are familiar with that book. Well, this song was inspired by that. So if you turn to page 9, you'll see a special message in there about this particular song. And I contacted the Addington family and I asked, could I take the words and put them to a song? And they said absolutely. So I'd like to share this with you. Some of you have heard this before. And if you have, 2 parts you can do. You can join me on the chorus of God is the Only Power. And then at the middle of the song, near the end, we're going to take a deep breath together. So let's try this now. Let's do that again. Deep breath. Okay, I'm not going to tell you where, but you'll know the right spot. You can clap with me if you want. Yeah. Well. God is the only power. Well. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life of God within in me. No past experience has power over me. None over me. I'm a perfect child of God within, and nothing that anyone has ever done, I say, can interfere with my divine inheritance. The power of God is greater than any circumstance in my life. The strength of God is mine to use, mine to use. God is the only power in my life. Sing that with me, come on. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power. God is the only power in my life. It's the only power. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power. Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy, I discover that all that I need is within me right now as I forgive the past. I find that I have nothing to atone for, nothing to run away from, casting off the old me. I discover my true self. I take dominion in my life. Oh, habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. Personalities have no power over me. Big breath here, go. I take dominion. I am whole. I am free. I am complete. Na, 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 na. Whoa. My God is the only power. God is the only power in my life. Come on, sing. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power in my life. God, keep that going for me. Only again. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power in my life. God is the only power. In my life. God is the only power. God is the only power. I say my God is the only, 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 God is the only power. God is the only power. So go back and get that book if you haven't got it. It's a beautiful song. It's actually about alcoholism, that particular one about addiction. So if you get a chance to pick that book up, it's a great book. Jack and Cornelia, I think, Harding, Addington. So this is an original too. This is called Wherever I Am. I really love this song. This kind of swings and have a good time. So I hope you guys join me. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. God is wherever I am. God is boom, ba-dum, dum. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever I choose to be, God is always right there with me. Wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am, God is. Wherever I go, God knows. Wherever I go, God knows. Wherever I choose to go, God has been there many times before. Wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am, God is. Yes, I have walked through the valley of false appearances, lost in a raging storm of blinding fear. Then one day all the clouds burned away and the bright morning sun reappeared. But first I opened my heart to release the pain. Whenever I'm scared, God's there. Boom, ba-dum, dum. Whenever I'm there, God's there. Whenever I choose to fear, I just remember only God is here. Wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am, God's here, God's here, God is here. Thomas Hughes. Come on, Thomas. Oh, whenever I choose to fear, God is always right here with me. God is everywhere, within the earth and the air, beneath my wings. My God is there. My God is there. My God is there. My God is there. My God is everywhere. My God is everywhere. My God is, my God, my God, my God, my God is everywhere. My God, my God, my God, my God is everywhere. Yeah. Oh. My God, my God, my God, my God is everywhere. Oh, oh. My God, 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 my God is everywhere. My God is everywhere. Whenever I choose to be, God is always right there with me. God is everywhere, within the earth and the air, beneath my wings. My God is there. Is there?
Mr. Tyrone Cozy. Right? Wherever I am, God is. For anybody who's called my personal cell phone, you probably got that message. God is right where you are. And so in this awareness, we're continuing with our theme of the allness, right? And so in this awareness, Ernest Holmes tells us that the trouble with most of us is that unless we see sugar in a sugar bowl, we think it must be something else. And so we stick to our petty prejudices instead of looking after principles. Well, you might say, wherever I am, God is, except that realtor. But no, that realtor has God too. And because what Ernest Holmes is saying about things have to look a certain way, they have to, in order for me to accept it to be what I want it to be. And God is just not that limited, God is so much more expansive than that. And so understanding this and understanding that we are making our environments by the creative power of our thought, I'm thinking that maybe in the creative power of our thought that we might consider the possibility of creatively seeing someone who may have otherwise been in our awareness not sufficient in some way, but that we have the creative power to dig deeper and to see. We're talking about being able to be in concert with that mystic that is within us, but we're also talking about being in concert with all of life. The first song that Tyrone sang was God is the Only Power. And it's interesting to think about God being the only power and then complain about something. Because if God is the only, then what could ever be missing? If God is the only power, how could I possibly think that I'm not enough? If God is the only power, how could it be that there is anything less than what God created? I'm trying to minimize any kind of feedback here. So the interesting thing is that when he was singing that song, old habits have no power over me. What are those old habits that we are participating in when we get caught up in, talking about somebody? They're not this and they're not that. And what does that have to do with us? And why is our concern that? Perhaps a new habit might be, what are the places in me that need attention? What are the places in me that are falling short of my expectations? And not to condemn myself, but to say, wow, you know what? I think that there's something here that could be improved. And to say that means that I am forever an aspect of God expanding and evolving all the time. I'm not limiting me, because what I'm finding is when I look for salvation, my part is essential to God's plan for salvation. I'm not really concerned with Joe's part or Susie's part or Mary's part. I'm concerned with my part. And when I say concerned with, that means that's where I want to put my attention. Because the Course also tells us that salvation must reverse the need belief in separate thoughts and separate bodies. Right? I can only get this from one place. I can only get this from one person. I can only have this because, after all, Johnny only has that, and I'm not any better than Johnny. And so all of these comparisons start to come up into our awareness. But when we say, you know what? I'm not really concerned about those mad beliefs that I have in separate thoughts. If, in fact, we're talking about the oneness of God and we're talking about God being the only power that is, then where is God not? So there is the answer to that is that God is everywhere. So there is no spot where God is not. Mahatma Gandhi says this: you must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the entire ocean does not become dirty. Now, it may appear that way when you see the abundance of species dying, and when you see the amount of debris that we throw into the ocean. It may seem as though the entire ocean is dirty. But it is an invitation for us, if we see dirt somewhere, to remove it. And I'm not just talking about waste management right now. That's not my only focus. But I am saying, if I'm seeing dirt in somebody else, I wonder where that dirt is in me. And I can't clean up all the ocean. I've tried every April to clean up Lake Michigan, which to some people looks like an ocean. Being with this idea of grace, and being with this idea of gratitude through grace, and working with the Deepak and Oprah meditations that I do, I guess maybe 4 or 5 times a year. And when I was being in this stillness and being in that meditative state, I went beyond that into another kind of a being, another kind of a centering, a separate meditation that did not require anybody else's voice. But to be in that space and to say, wow, in the midst of all of this, there's something. When I allow myself to be still, there is simply no sound. And yet there is a palpable energy. In that awareness, I'm knowing that something is not stagnant, but it's very much alive, and that is the energy. And when we're all aware that we each have the opportunity to turn within, then we each have an opportunity to seek in truth what God is trying to say to us, not even trying, what God is saying to us. When we are looking at someone as an other, we start to believe that there's something different from us. And I thought about it and I said, an other is someone that you cannot see. Yeah, you'll see their physical appearance. You'll see any kind of indications about their physical makeup, any kind of indications about the way that they talk, the way that they dress, whatever. But you're not really seeing that person. And our relationship with people are not really relationships with each other. Our relationships with that you do not share. And so if you're in total relationship with something, then you are a lot more aware of who they are than your perception of who they are. TV One in Denmark, they do a number of promotions that I find to be fascinating. They have this group of people from different walks of life. Have any of you seen them? Yeah. And so they could be people from rural areas, they could be people from the city, they could be people who are religious, or they could be people who practice spirituality in a way that does not require them to go to a building. They could be people who you trust with your life, like perhaps medical personnel. And there could be people who you might put in a category to say they look very threatening. They look, like I'm not safe to be around them. And so all of these people, in one video I was watching, were sitting in this waiting room just waiting. Now, they weren't interacting with each other. They were just simply on their phones. They were looking in magazines. Some of them were just staring off into space, but none of them were really looking at each other. And so they took them into this big room, and then they started calling these people forth. And none of these people had any seeming relationship to one another. And then one person comes up, and he is, average guy, and another guy comes up. We do that now. Now, they had never met each other, and yet they had the same experiences or similar experiences from being in the same environment, basically, in terms of the physicality of it, right? There was a person who was a young man. He would tie them together like one of those same persons would be somebody you've actually seen each other face to face before, because they're standing looking at each other and they say, "Oh, you were both at the age of 12 playing rugby. And you were on one team and you were on the other team, right? But you've seen each other before. You've confronted each other before. And I think the score was 42-0. And the girls said, good game, because the guys' team was the one who had won. But so many times in our lives, we have encounters with people, or we have connections with people that we don't even think about, right? There was a woman whose father was dying in a fire, and the firefighter came there, and he was standing across from her before he was one of the people on the rescue team who helped to save her father's life. She had never known that this person was that person because, you're caught up in the drama of that moment. But even then, there was a connection, and they embraced each other because she was so grateful to him that they had come in the right amount of time. There was a woman who looked like she was seasoned and was apparently in her mid-20s. And they said to the seasoned woman, you were present when this woman was born. In fact, you helped bring her into this dimension. And the girl said, you were my midwife? And she says, oh, yes, I was. And so none of these people were expecting to have these kinds of conversations, and yet they had come into contact with someone who had such an impact on their lives in one way or another to various degrees, and yet they were not separate, even though it appeared that they were living separate lives. So it's really looking at what is it that makes us seem that we need to separate ourselves and have those kind of separate thoughts and separate minds when there's one function that is shared by all of us. That is the energy that I call God. That is the function of love. That is love as an activity and also as a state of being. When I was thinking about the idea of an other being someone that you cannot see, I was also looking at the fact that when we cannot see someone who is not exactly as we are and call them an other, even though we may be identical in our experiences, we still insist on calling them an other. And so we take our pain even, and we act like there's nobody who's ever felt this pain like I felt. And then I become so associated with my pain that in some distorted way, the pain becomes my steady companion. Now, I'm not consciously saying, come on, pain, let's go on and do our thing, right? But I have such a relationship with that pain. I have a greater relationship with that pain than I do to someone with whom I am not acquainted. And so my pain may in fact take a step forward when I encounter someone rather than my real self. And so if I am really being with this particular companion and this desired company that I keep, clearly I must desire this pain if I keep carrying it with me, huh? Amen. One wouldn't think so logically, but because it's so familiar to me, it just seems like I'm not myself if I don't have my pain right there with me. If it is something I look forward to and someone tries to ease that away from me, I am going to be defensive about that person trying to take away my pain. You can't take that away from me, because if you do that, I won't know who I am. Amen. Even if it's racism, even if it's homophobia, even if it's sexism, even if it is elitist religiosity. Because I invite you to know on this Sunday, which some refer to as Palm Sunday, that's exactly what they did with Jesus. Oh, they said, oh yes, you are a beloved master teacher. You are wonderful. Oh, we're so grateful that you're here. Oh, we're so totally just thrilled to have you in our space here. We're just grateful that you came to our town. You know, you come here to celebrate Passover, and we just couldn't be more tickled pink to have you here. And he's riding on a mule. He's riding on a baby donkey, really. Not really a full mule. And so he's riding on determination. He's riding on determination when he comes into this town that seems to be so adoring, seems to be so friendly, seems to be so welcoming. Because they have noticed what he does more than they have noticed who he is. They have looked at him on face value and said, this man can turn water into wine. This man can turn the blind into seeing. This man can make the lame walk. This man has the capacity to do this. And no one bothered to think about, where is he getting that power from? They just wanted to focus on what he was doing and what they were able to see with their. You are talking about is your Father. All you are talking about is how you are one with it. And so in this awareness that God is the only power, this is what we need to know when we are moving through our lives, and to really understand that the God of my understanding, I'm not sure about the God of your understanding, but I'll tell you about the God of my understanding is that being, that presence, that goodness that is forever seeking to reveal good in and through my life and through all life that is. And so, when I decide to be separate from someone in my isolation, I feign some sort of superiority. Jesus wasn't doing any of that when he came into town or wherever he might have been. He wasn't trying to put himself above others. In fact, on Maundy Thursday, he was saying, I'm going to wash your feet. And they're like, oh, no, you can't be doing that. You're a master. Well, and Jesus said, well, I cannot be your master unless I am your servant. And so in that relationship, you got to see that there is always an opportunity for us to serve each other and not just simply rest on our own superiority as though it were something real. No matter how sadly or sickly I may become safe in that illusion, and I'm coming to trust that that should never change because that is the way I am comfortable in that mindset. And in a rather grotesque fashion, I embrace that way of being. And in the distance that I alone have created, I become lonely and lost and unable to find a way to connect to anyone else, to anything else, to everything that is. Every life, every thought, every belief that is counter to or a variation from me, I find that I am alone and empty without any real connection. So in this high-tech, low-touch society that we are presently living in, there is an emptiness that must be filled because the universe abhors a vacuum. Right? So in all of this, I'm seeking. I really don't need to call anybody on the phone. I really don't need to go online and see what's going on there. I really don't need to text somebody and let them know what's going on right now. I really don't have any kind of a need to send a telegraph or a letter. I just really want to make a call to the center of my being. And I want to say in the center of my being, I know that what is here is real. I know that what is here is constant. I know that there is something here that is eternal. I know that when I call into it, even though it appears to be nothingness, even though it appears to be a void, that there is something there that responds to me fully and completely. And I know that it is not the energy of myself. I know that it is peace, that it is love without gestures. I know that it is available. I know it is present. I know it is life. I know that it knows that I am aware of it. And had I no body to feed or shelter, had I had no expectations of where I should be, here is where I would stay. But we're not living in a cave. We're not living in an isolated community. We're not living in an ashram unless you're just here on a break. But right here in the center of my being is everything I need. And I have arrived and I am complete. And yet, there are all of these other trillions of people. Whatever are they here for? They are here to reveal that aspect of God, that dimension of God that shows me something that I am not able to see in my isolated experience. So everyone around me has a gift to give me. And so what I became aware of in meditation was that there are times when I don't know grace because I am in judgment. And when I am in judgment, that means that I am easily able to see what is wrong. Now, the Christ consciousness, which I say that I am embodying and which I'm saying that I am aware of, is one who looks for the perfection behind the dis-ease. The Christ consciousness is one who looks for the sight behind the blind eyes. The Christ consciousness is that which is able to see the healthy limbs beyond the person who is on a crutch. And so it is that perfection that we have not perfected, because we as a teaching have become so far away from our essence, which is spiritual healing, that we're just satisfied with taking a pill and keeping it moving. And so that's not allowing us to really be aware that there is something that we share. And that is this thing called life, this thing called love. And the way that we are able to grow in grace is through our gratitude for each other. When we take the time to appreciate what is unique about someone, when we take the time to celebrate the talents of someone, when we take the time to absolutely honor that which they bring that no one else can bring in that way. And so what I'm knowing is that as I be still and listen to the truth, I'm freed up from that judgment. I'm freed up in this moment. And so I'm like Howard Thurman, seeking those moments of my high resolve, not just a resolve to be better or to do better, but to see better. Not with my physical eyes, but with my Christ consciousness that allows me to be able to see beyond whatever has happened on the outer, so that I'm not perceiving excellence one day and then crucifying the next. And so what I need to know is that I have the capacity to do so. It doesn't matter that 999,000 other people are throwing stones. What do I need to know from myself? Because we have within us a great understanding. Some will call it a righteousness. Some of us get too hooked up on the word righteousness, thinking that they are the experts on some type of morality. But regardless of whether you've been identified in this group of all kinds of varieties of being the class clown, and you may have all kinds of different kinds of ways that you look, or if you're being identified as being someone who is a step parent, and there are other step parents who look a different way, and yet there is something about what you are going through, what you have been experiencing, that makes you so very similar in terms of your frustrations, in terms of your victories, in terms of that which you have come to know about yourself in the process. And most of us don't really give ourselves a chance to find out who those persons might be. Or when we recognize that we share something in common with them, if we could even find out, if we could look up from our cell phones, or if we could look up from our iPad, who is that person that's sitting next to me? It is interesting to be aware of, because God doesn't just put people in our lives. God puts people in our lives just. Okay? For we need to know that they are bringing us some information. Each one of us are a messenger. Each one of us are angels. That's what angels are. And so we may not be flying around in our wings because, somebody might be wanting to call the people to come get us in straitjackets. But we are moving through this universe. We are moving through our lives, and we do have something to share with one another. And we needn't just keep it short. Perhaps we need to sit down and have more conversations with each other. Or perhaps we need to think about each other in fond ways, not just when there's some new juicy dirt to talk about. Perhaps there's an opportunity for us to know, as God does, that it is connecting us and that there is no way that we could ever be separate from one another. Perhaps it is an opportunity to listen to those two laws that Jesus brought. Love God and love one another. And I suspect and I believe that the only reason why there were two laws instead of one is because we don't want to put anyone higher than God as our source, as our substance, and as our truth. For if we do not know that, then we are indeed not connected to one another. And so I invite you to take that other kind of consciousness away and give ourselves an opportunity to see each other as the divine in expression. Namaste. Let's pray. If every practitioner and minister would stand with me in the awareness of this I am. I know that the I am is that Christ consciousness, is that Buddha nature, is that Atman presence, is that essential self. And I know that this is true for everyone under the sound of my voice. I know that it is this life, this wholeness, this perfection, this completeness. I know that it is this joy and this peace. I know it is this prosperity. I know it is this good. And so as I think about each individualized expression that is within our immediate community, I think of people like Kuwaza, whose cousin Cynthia was on life support and was coming to a point where they were planning to take her off of that. And so wherever Cynthia is in that process, I know that all is well. And I accept peace for Kawaza right where he is as he releases her into her own journey. I'm knowing peace for the entire family as they are acclimating themselves into a life without Cynthia and what that is and what that could be, inconceivable as it may feel. And I know the same truth for Barbara Marx Hubbard, a very vibrant evolutionary thinking leader in the New Thought movement. And I'm knowing that now that even though it may have crossed my mind when I became aware of her 20 years ago, that she was already seasoned and well seasoned, that the thought of her moving into an invisible realm was only within the context of what I understood her to be talking about. Yeah. And so now I celebrate her as the light, and as she sees us all as light beings, regardless of the bodies that we walk in, being able to communicate with each other in spiritual ways that require no vocal language. I know this oneness as I think about Ayanna Johnson moving through this diagnosis of bronchitis. I know that right where she is, God is. And in the midst of her breathing is that life energy that is guiding her through. And so anything that seems to be hesitating about embracing life in its fullness, any thought that there is a perhaps separation from that fullness falls away back into that nothingness from whence it came. And what emerges is the wholeness, the perfection, the completeness of her being, expressing as perfect health. I know this same truth for Wendy Worsley as she takes her particular diagnosis of acute bronchitis and really invites herself to embrace life in its fullness and to absolutely rest in the presence of love, rest in the presence of grace, and know that she is forever lifted and supported into her greatest yet to be. And I'm knowing that she doesn't have to leave the physical plane in order for that to happen, but that she is growing in grace by simply moving through this experience. And so I'm accepting for her a full and complete recovery without any drama or limited condition. For I know that we have dominion over conditions, including any dimension having to do with our finances. And I'm knowing that whatever appears to be limited cannot be the truth, because there is an unlimited universe that we live and move and have our beingness in, and that lives and moves and has its beingness in each one of us. Not just some of us, not just those people, but the allness of us. And so I am knowing that for anyone who may have placed a prayer request in the prayer box or thought a thought, that there was not enough, that there was just enough to get to the 15th or just enough to get to the end of the month. All of those thoughts get to be dispelled back into the nothingness from whence they came. And if they have no paycheck at all, that God is the source and not a job. And so I'm knowing for any fear that comes around wanting to hold on to this thing for this money must fall away, because that is just simply a placeholder for an influx, a whole like downpouring of abundant prosperity, a windfall, an absolute trickling. However it comes is according to how we receive it and how we are prepared to receive it. But it is always available, always accessible to us. And we allow ourselves to be in that divine flow of giving and receiving. And I'm knowing that for anyone who is having a relationship challenge, for anyone who is having a challenge with communicating, anyone who is having a challenge with being respectful or being respected, that in this exchange that there is a realization that there is only one here, expressing as each of us, so that in our soul's journey that we may be reunited in the oneness when we come to ourselves, when we realize that there is only one and not an other. And so I celebrate the reunion that we have when we come to know that God has never left us and never could, never would. And I'm knowing that in this awareness, we know this about each other, regardless of whether we're in a relationship or just got out of a relationship or relationships trying to end or whatever needs to happen for the evolution of our souls is happening in perfect order, so that there is never a time when we are separate from our good. And so I celebrate that love is eternal, that life is eternal, and that we are only dying deaths to that which no longer serve us. That which we are becoming and emerging in us is something greater than we could ever conceive. And so I celebrate it all as wholeness, as perfection, as completeness. And I celebrate the source of it as the essence of my life. In great gratitude for it all, I release this word to law. Law being perfect, I know it is done. And so it is. Amen. I think it's time that we move into what we call offertory. We have a pledge program, don't you know? We have a pledge program that gives us an opportunity to make plans in our budget and make plans in our choices. And that pledge program started a couple of weeks ago and is asking us to participate in it before the 1st of May. If you want to pledge form, maybe you raise your hand and let an usher know that you need it so they bring it with them when they come up. But you can also get to it from ebcrs.org for you online. You can go to Gracious Giving and find out how to do that. You don't have to even put the money in today. You can just set a date when the money's to go in there. There's so many ways that we want to keep you in the flow, because we know that God is our source. God is our power. Everything that we need is assured. And so we celebrate this through this time of giving. Ushers is 2 hands up asking for pledge forms over to my right. And so please accommodate them so that their arms don't get tired, to my right, which is the left of the audience. And so I'm hoping and trusting that they will be accommodated with those forms. I think someone is on the way to make sure that that happens. In the meantime, you can rest your arms. And as the ushers come forward, let's celebrate the givingness of God.
On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. Yes, you will. On a clear day, how it will astound you. That the glow of your being outshines every star. You feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you never ever heard before. And on a clear day, on a clear day, you can see forever and never and never and never more.
Yes, it's a clear day. We can see clearly now. We can see clearly that God is the substance that keeps on giving. We can see clearly now that we are participating in this flow of good. We can see now that for every person who is making a pledge or putting in a cash or a check or going to the kiosk or texting online 50155 to streaming, that there is a way that each one of us gets to be assured that our good is already on its way back to us. For in this understanding, anytime we perceive that we're moving away from the Father is indeed moving in another direction back to the Father. And so I'm knowing that there is no other place for us to go. And in this place that we go, it is flourishing and absolutely supporting us and meeting all of our supplies. So I give thanks for the supplies that it's bringing to this divine idea that is the East Bay Church of Religious Science. I'm grateful for the way that we are providing ways to promote our agenda of transforming the planet one person at a time. And I'm knowing that we do this through our various programs, through our community outreach, through our education, through our youth department, through our Food Angels program, through the many ways that we reach out beyond the prison walls, beyond those circumstances, situations, and conditions for which we are absolutely rushing as antibodies supporting some kind of a need that is getting our attention. And so I'm knowing that all of this is part of the genius of the mind of God. I celebrate it. I give thanks for it. I release this word and I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, ushers, for your loving service and your consistency. I see children. I see them coming, and I'm thrilled. Hello, Stacy.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
I think you're about to get reactivated.
Voice. We are working today on the tour and the idea of 46 years of East Bay and what it has meant for our youth. And so each youth today has taken one thing, well, not each one, they worked on it in groups, but we have 3 or 4 youth that are sharing today about some aspect of what the youth have done. Now, we didn't capture everything because I know there was a play at some point with William Oliver, and there's been some things that had to do with the Leadership Academy, but we have hit on some real major things that I was even a part of because my daughter was a teen, and there's good stuff. It's great. So, Kimani, if you could share, use your projecting voice, please.
The mic might be working now.
Hello, hello.
2005 Black History Month celebration initiated.
2000, the church's second trip to Ghana happened with global world peace.
In 1994, Teen Church goes to Jamaica with global world peace. 2013 through 2014 winter camp for the youth, including Alsamar Fall Camp, Oregon and Malibu Summer Camp, and Santa Cruz Winter Camp.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Can you see that what we've done over these 46 years has been impactful, and there's many instances where they're game changers. It changes their lives and puts them in a new direction. So thank you. And let's not waste an opportunity while we have these young people in front of us. Let's just let them know that we love you.
We love you.
We see you.
We see you.
We know who you are.
We know who you are.
You are our greatest inspiration.
You are our greatest inspiration.
And we love you unconditionally.
And we love you unconditionally.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
And so we are. Well, that's it. That's all, folks. We're getting ready to move forward. The practitioners have a meeting today at 1 o'clock. We have Roots class tomorrow, Monday evening at 6:30. Practitioner class training on Tuesday evening. We also have spiritual economics on Tuesday evening. On Wednesday, we have our midweek revealing service. On Thursday, we have a foundation day class. And on Friday, I think the Toastmasters will be hanging out there. Back on Saturday, there's a whole bunch of different meetings going on, so I hope to see you before next Sunday. And if not, I know that when I see you is in divine right timing. Let's stand for our benediction. Touch that person next to you. And after I complete the benediction, find out something about them that you did not know. I think I want to go the other way. Thank you. No worries. So we touch the hand of God right now. We touch grace simply by connecting with one another. And so in this awareness, I know that there is only one life. That life is the life of God, and that life is my life now. That life is perfect. And so what I reveal is my greatest aspiration for this perfection being realized. Not efforting to be anything that I'm not, but absolutely knowing and trusting that all that I am is enough. And as I know that for myself, I easily see that for each and every person that I meet or greet or think about. And so in this one mind of love, we live and move and share this compassion. And we allow ourselves to be in harmonious interaction. Whether we're on the road or whether we are standing or sitting or wherever we may be. So I just celebrate this awareness, this Christ consciousness, this Buddha nature, this Atman presence, for I know this connection is eternal. I celebrate it by saying, Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So tell me about you.
On a clear day.
I don't know.